Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a chirology and palmistry practitioner, teacher, and author based in Johannesburg. I have written 4 books about the topic. I've been practicing for almost 30 years, and my mission and vocation really is to support you in your study of how to read hands, with the focus being on supporting people in their struggles, in their sufferings, with this wonderful modality that is so kind and gentle when practiced in the correct, ethical, and therapeutic way. I've up to now been talking about hands from a distance, which is really the point of departure for aspiring hand readers. One needs to be able to look at hands and train your eye just from far away, just to see what you can pick up, little nuances and so on. But today we're going to start stepping into the system that I'm particularly trained in, which is the 5-element system of how to read hands. There's several different hand reading systems, and mostly based somewhere in the old astrological ways, where readers pick up some kind of, for example, Venusian qualities or Saturnine qualities and so on, based on the planets, planetary symbolism, and mapping that over onto the various shapes and forms of the hands. But the system that I'm trained in is the 5-element system, and this is the system I believe to be the most user-friendly, the most principled, and really the most exciting and interesting, because we all have direct access to our natural elements. So there's an innate knowing. It's almost as if some part of us is familiar with these various associations, which makes it that much easier for us to learn the 5-element system. Fundamental to our system of 5-element chirology is a concept called the principle of graduated materiality. It's much easier than it sounds. What it really is explaining is how that of which we are composed, essentially the elements, manifest in accordance with a graduated degree of materiality. So we have earth, which is dense, which we can touch and feel. We have water, which we can touch and feel, but it has no form. We have fire, which we can see, but we can't really touch, and it certainly has no form. And then, of course, we have the element air, which is invisible, formless, and untouchable in the theory of this principle. And then at the top is the ether element, or I like to call it chi. I enjoy the play on the word chirology, the chi, and the fact that this ether element, or the chi element as I call it, is really representing in this particular modality the spiritual aspect of life and the intuitive aspect of life, and all those areas of the hand reading work that is indescribable. It's something that is, I call it the thread. It's as if everything in the chi element is really non-material, essentially. The principle of graduated materiality gives us, in essence, a model within which to interpret the hands. We see that each element has fundamental principles. These are very scientific. For example, earth is solid, water is fluid, fire is energetic, air is pervasive, chi or ether describes divinity. So already we've got a kind of a model for how we interface with our lives. And since we and everything in our known universe is made up of these elements and their various scientific principles, of which there are many, there's a whole vocabulary associated. And this vocabulary gives us what we call the language of the elements. So we seek to define the unknown, which is the hand, in terms of the known, which is essentially all these various principles and characteristics of the natural elements. So it's a very dynamic and exciting way to learn to read hands. And while we're still in the foundation of understanding the elements, there's also a certain set of principles that specifically describes the realm of that particular element. For example, the earth element relates to I'm matter. I'm composed of matter, and I'm matter in terms of my manifestation in the physical. The water element is I feel. Obviously, water, most of us know, relates to our emotional lives. Fire has to do with I act. It's that masculine yang energetic energy which has to do with movement. Air is I think. The air element, as again most of you will know, pertains to the intellect, the communicative function. And then at the top, because it is a graduated scale, it's actually, we can draw it literally almost. In fact, in the East, it's quite interesting to know that in China, a lot of the architectural and the stupas, which is placed on graves and so on. So these formations, architecturally and on the grave formations, are based on this principle of earth to water to fire to air to chi. And to get back to what I was saying, on the chi level, the principle is I am, the I am, that I am principle. So this gives us this neutral language context, this structure. This principle of graduated materiality also describes how the more we know about our personal elements or about the elements, the more we know about ourselves. So there's a sort of an interface with understanding of elemental behavior and then mapping that over onto our personal behavior. And next week I'll talk a little bit more about Earth specifically, but let's just say for the moment that each of these four primary elements, earth, water, fire, air, is represented in a shape and an archetype. So you've got earthy types, watery types, fiery types, and air types. And I know you'll be able to relate to that straight away. There's a knowing, there's an understanding of what an earthy guy or woman might be like, or what a watery person might be like, and so on through the elements. So as I keep saying, it's so accessible, which makes five-element chirology such a passion for me, and that's why I so want to share it with you. That's it for today, and I'm looking forward to getting into the earth energy next week, and I'll be showing you some images of the earth hand shape. And please like, subscribe, share. Let me know what interests you the most. Any comments are so welcome, and see you then.